What
Yep.
account are you joining? Are you joining to your main group on yahoo.com?
Yes, right, from yahoo.com, from the link you put on my Yahoo calendar yesterday.
Okay.
I see the
Okay, you see?
I see the interpreter language here. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and then click Vietnamese. Okay, I made it Vietnamese. Vietnamese here. So now I just. I don't see, but I see the box. You see, I can see the box here. To change from English to Vietnamese. Yeah. And now, yeah. But I think that this one may be for participant, not interpreter, right? Because it is like listening in.
Send you this email address. We just said it.
I do it again or what?
No, wait.
Yes.
Okay, so copy and paste now. No, don't remove anything because they might be just close. And manage. Then just add. Just click it. Language, yes. Yes. Yeah. Vietnamese. And yeah. Do you see it now? Is this on?
See the bar? No, I don't see the bar. No bar.
The name of your account is Asana. Are you joining as an interpreter or you join as a...
Interpreters. I joined from the link you... I joined. Do you want me to sign out and in again? Should I join from the link on the calendar you provided me yesterday?
Yeah, correct. You didn't join from that.
Okay, I leave and join again. I join from that. So now I leave and join again?
Yes.
Okay, leave.
Let me call Mr. Scott.
Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth installation of our Explore Digital Speaker series. My name is Joesh, and a warm welcome to all guest speakers, moderator, as well as our audience tuning in from ASEAN countries today. Go Digital ASEAN is implemented by the Asia Foundation with funding from Google.org, Google's philanthropic arm, and is endorsed by the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. In continuation of the first successful phase of Go Digital ASEAN, GDA 1, Go Digital ASEAN 2 broadens digital skills participation across the region by providing advanced and fit-for-purpose training for up to 200,000 underserved MSMEs across ASEAN. The Explore Digital component of training gathers regional business owners together in a speaker series format, featuring entrepreneurs and thought leaders from across ASEAN to share their expertise, insights, and successes for regional trends on small businesses. Now, here's what you can expect from today's webinar. Hear the inspiring stories of successful entrepreneurs and how digital skills and tools have impacted their journey, as well as connect to your peer entrepreneurs not only within your home country, but also your neighboring ASEAN countries as well. Now, before we begin, I want to address some housekeeping matters. We want to encourage active participation throughout the session. All right. If you have any questions, write your questions in the Q&A box. Share your thoughts, comments, and feedback in the chat box below. We also want you to express yourself with emojis. So if you see the emoji button on the Zoom webinar, whether you're tuning in from Zoom, if you see the emoji button, feel free to click the emoji button. If you're tuning in from YouTube, also, comment and like so that we know that you're there with us. All right. Lastly, for our participants tuning in from Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, as well as Indonesia, you'll be able to access translation channels through the interpretation tab at the bottom of your screen. Now, if you're hearing both the English as well as local language audio, you may go to the interpretation tab and unselect original audio so that you only hear the local language. A certificate of participation will also be given to participants who complete the post-webinar survey. Now, before I hand the time over to our moderator today, this webinar may be recorded and distributed as part of the Go Digital ASEAN program. Now, without further ado, I will now hand the time over to Hannah, who will be moderating for us today. Hannah, please.
Thank you, Joash, and good morning, everyone. My name is Hannah Najar. I'm a Regional Program Manager for Go Digital ASEAN at the Asia Foundation, and I'm pleased to be joined here today by Juliana Adam, the founder of BGBG Initiative, and Jason Occidental, founder of EcoGift Davao. BGBG's mission is to democratize access to tech and education to catalyze sustainable development with a focus on capacity building, circular economy, public awareness and advocacy, and building change makers, all with the aim to build highly effective, impact-driven organizations and foster transformative change. EcoGift Davao is a sustainable business using digital technologies and digital fabrication techniques incorporated with locally handmade wood items. And Jason is also an assistant professor and researcher at Ateneo de Davao University, specializing in engineering, sustainability, and renewable energy. Maybe if I could just pass to both of my colleagues here to introduce themselves. Juliana?
Hi, thanks, Hannah. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Juliana. I am from the BGBG Initiative. Thanks, Hannah, for the introduction. I'll give a little bit more insight into the work that we do. So we are an impact-driven organization. We are a for-profit social enterprise that is based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. We have been around since 2013, and we are one of the few SEs in Malaysia with the social enterprise accredited status. And BGBG, we are driven by our mission statement, which is to democratize access to tech and education to advance and inclusive sustainable development. And how we do this is through capacity building programs for impact businesses and nonprofits to help grow their business acumen skills so that they can scale and reach their impact. On top of that, we also have civic engagement programs, and these are mainly aimed for the youth and also the young change makers who have all these bold ideas to implement a sustainability-driven project or business, but they just don't know how to start or where to go to. So we provide them with the key how-tos to build your business, to sustain their business, and also to encourage them to utilize digital tools in building their impact work. The other side of things also, we tackle the circular economy through our Beyond Bins project, where we provide small-scale 3-in-1 recycling machines to marginalized communities so that they can build their livelihoods and earn income through recycling. So that's a little bit about BGBG.
Thank you, Juliana. Jason, could you tell us a bit more about EcoGift Davao?
All right. So again, good morning, everyone. So EcoGift Davao is a sustainable business, as what was mentioned, but specifically, we try to provide affordable, personalized, eco-friendly gifts. So we try to source gift items coming from local makers, and we try to use digital tools such as digital fabrication techniques as well as digital marketing in order to increase the value of these items. Apart from that, we have also sustainable, or we are doing sustainable business practices, such as trying to limit our packaging, since we all know that the gifting industry is one of the most wasteful industries. So we try to reduce our packaging, we try to upcycle our packaging, and we also try to do carbon footprint reduction by trying to employ bike couriers or short distance deliveries, as well as trying to reduce our energy consumption through the use of home-based solar devices, as well as low power equipment. So that's it for EcoGift Davao.
Thank you both. I'm excited to have you here today to both share both of your perspectives. I thought, for our topic on sustainability, maybe we could just kind of start off with, when we talk about sustainability, what does that mean? Juliana, maybe I could pass to you first.
Yeah, so to me, when it comes to sustainability, it's about doing good while also being able to make a profit, especially in the business sense. It's still being able to run your business as usual, but you put on a conscious and intentional hat to also look at creating positive impact for the society and the environment while you are running your business. And I feel like this is where the ESG lens comes in, right? The environmental, social, and governance aspect of how we operate. You, as a business, you always have to consider, like, do you have such ESG policies or ESG maps within your organization? So this could be things like on the environmental side, environmental aspect. Is your office being energy efficient? How are you sourcing your supplies? Are they from sustainable and ethical sources? Or like when it comes to the social aspect of things, do you have any employee wellness programs? Are you engaging with the local communities where you're operating in? Or how about like DEI policies? Are you promoting a diversified and inclusive workplace at all levels? Then when you look at the governance aspect, right, maybe you could look at your accounting practices. Is it appropriately transparent and accessible to all stakeholders? What sort of ethical business practices do you put in place? Things like how do you handle data privacy and how do you ensure fair trading? And so when it comes to sustainability, I feel like ESG is definitely something that you implement internally, but you also need to look externally as well, right? And this is where the UN SDGs come into play. You would want to align your business to the SDGs. There are 17 goals out there. You can go and look it up, but ultimately, you'd want to integrate your chosen goals into your business strategy so that it becomes part of your everyday business decisions. And when you do this, ensuring you operate with an ESG lens, having ESG policies, but also externally being aligned to the SDGs, you increase your brand reputation and influence. The things that you do, the stories that you share about how your business operates, it creates a huge influence on your followers. And that's the kind of like snowball effect that I feel like we need to create a lasting impact towards sustainability.
Thanks, Juliana. Jason, would you like to add to that in terms of what sustainability means for you?
So for me, in a small business perspective, it's really on consciousness in what you do as a small business. It's not merely one P, which is profit. there's also people in planet. People, are we giving proper opportunities to the people that's working for us, or the people that we're working with in our business, as well as to the planet? Are we trying to source all our items sustainably, or are we trying to or some of our business operations are friendly to the planet, or does it impact the planet positively or negatively? So it's simply looking into your actions and what can we do about it, making sure that we're trying to hit that sustainability aspect, because it's not really just a leverage as a business. It's really a way of life. It's really it's more of a day-to-day practice that we can try to follow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think I want to continue on that by asking you, Jason, to share with us kind of a little bit of the story of EcoGift Davao and, you know, what your motivations were to start a sustainable business.
So that's a very good question. Actually, since I work in the academe, so I'm an educator. I'm also actually one of the mentors in the Go Digital ASEAN program. So what motivated me to start this small business was really to put my ideas of sustainability, my ideas of innovation into actual practice. So this was really the motivating factor. Can I do it as someone who thinks about sustainability, who thinks about innovation? How can we put that into practice so that what I've learned in this little experiment that I have with EcoGift Davao, I can also share with my fellow business owners.
And would you say that EcoGift Davao kind of started off as a sustainable business at its core, or is that something that you adapted as the business progressed?
So it actually worked two ways, because I also got a bit frustrated with what I mentioned earlier, that the gifting industry, you buy a gift, let's say, for example, a personalized gift, like 90% of the gift that you buy is just packaging. 10% is the actual item that you're buying. So I got a bit frustrated with that. And so it had me thinking, why not try to start a business, try to reduce all that packaging, try to transfer that savings into the consumer, and offer a unique set of eco-friendly products. So that's what actually motivated me. Another motivation was from a book that I read called $100 Startup. So that's actually a very good book. And truth be told, I actually started with $100 for EcoGift Davao, and I was able to get my ROI in just a month's time. So that's what's really I can brag about, that putting what I've been teaching into practice.
I love that. I think it's really important to be able to kind of incorporate a strong why for your business. And I also love what you said about, you know, kind of wanting to make sure that you're sort of walking the talk. Juliana, could I ask you to share a little bit about, you know, the beginnings of BGBG and what motivated you to start that business?
Well, what motivated me, I guess, like similar to what Jason said, right? It's the frustration in how business is working, and also the ability to start with just zero money or very little money. So for my story is my first entrepreneurial experience was actually when I was 14 years old. At that point, there was a huge humanitarian conflict, and I felt horrible for the children who were going through that. I wanted to help them out, but because I was 14, I didn't have money to contribute to the donation. So what I thought I could do is I like to make things. So then I used whatever that I had at home. I made little craft items like notebooks with old book covers, or like I made candles in glass jars that my mom and I were collecting. And I would sell these items in a marketplace. And through like the weekends of marketplaces, I actually managed to earn I think a few $1,000s, to which then I donated to the charity that I was aiming for. So at that point, basically, I had no idea what sustainability is. I had no idea what social entrepreneurship is. All I know is that I wanted to help those in need. Like Jason said, right? I mean, we start off with zero money or like $100. Then you kind of think of like, how can you get the money how can you fold like threefold, fourfold the money without just simply asking for donations or like, just a normal way that business operates. So then fast forward many years later, when BGBG first started, at that point, I was also running my other social enterprise startup. I find myself doing the same thing, which is providing a service or a product that the consumers want. But at the same time, these products also involve a positive impact to the community and also the environment. At that point in time, when we started, we were focused on the circular economy side of things. We made fashion bags out of seat belts, out of waste materials, and we worked with the marginalized communities, the communities in need, to provide them with a fair wage income to make these bags from seat belts or from tarpaulins or from your event waste. And one thing I want to share is when we started off, especially in Malaysia about 10, 11, 12 years ago, the term upcycling or sustainability was pretty much unheard of. No one knows what this means. We didn't know these words. We didn't know what it means, but it was a new buzzword that was very, very slowly gaining traction. And for us, without even knowing the terms or how to go about it or how to run a business based on that, or actually how to run a business at all, what we knew was we definitely wanted to build our company on environmental and social policies, like creating impact in this sense. We, out of like frustration that Jason was saying earlier, right? We wanted to prove that businesses can be conducted better, where you can earn an income, earn good profit, but also the impact can be created for the communities and the environment that you are working in. So that's pretty much like the story of how BGBG has started since then and to where we are now.
I love that. And what I'm hearing is that, both of you really have sustainability kind of incorporated into the core of your business. I'm wondering if, Jason, maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the benefits you've experienced from having a sustainable business.
So the clear benefits to that is it's really being conscious with your own business's consumption. That might be energy, raw materials. Because of that consciousness, it can actually be a cost-saving opportunity when we talk about sustainability in that sense, because we're trying our best to reduce our energy consumption. Because a lot of people have that misconception that, when we talk about energy consumption, it should be that, we're shifting to renewable energy. That's already a sustainability action. But actually, in reality, it's not, because if you try to look at the long run, some of these solar devices are actually not sustainably sourced. Some of them are not. And you just end up consuming more and more energy. So there's actually a concept in the sustainability space that talks about it. Yes, you are trying to green up the way that you source things, but it just ends up you consuming more. So what I would like to look at is really how we look at our consumption habits and simply reduce it. We don't have to invest in solar energy to become sustainable. We just need to reduce our energy consumption. And it's not just good for the planet, it's also good for us in a business perspective. Trying to, since I was also conducting the Grow Digital ASEAN programs, a lot of small business owners also agree with that. When it comes to sustainability, it's really trying to reduce some of your expenses and being more conscious. So we had before a participant who was a restaurant owner. So he was very conscious with his fridge consumption to the point that he now knew how many hours should the fridge run to consume this much energy, and in turn, how much they would be spending for that energy consumption. Versus another participant who was complaining, we spent $20,000 to invest in solar energy, but then we're having problems in the long run. So it's really two different perspectives. But again, it's really not very intimidating, especially as a small business owner. We're very afraid to make very big investments because our resources are not that deep.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And, kind of going back to what Juliana said about how sustainability wasn't really a concept 10 years ago, it it can be a risk. And I think it's really important what you've shared about the cost saving measures of sustainability. That it's actually an opportunity to increase profits and reduce expenses on operations and consumption. Juliana, could I ask you to share about some of the benefits of being a sustainable business at BGBG?
Yeah, I want to add on to what Jason mentioned also, like on top of reducing your operational costs, you actually also get to, on the flip side, right, you also get to increase your revenue for your business. Because when you look at the kinds of like offerings, like products, for example, if you offer more like greener products or more like upcycled products, you get to widen or broaden your revenue streams, your pipelines. And this is where also you can increase the income streams for your organization. Some of the other benefits that we've also noticed or like benefited from is the kind of talent pool that we're getting. It definitely helps in our talent acquisition and talent retention within the team itself, because a lot of the younger generations, they want to be associated with working with organizations who are more sustainable or more ethical in how they operate. A lot of the younger or the newer team members that come to, okay, not new, but like throughout these years, but a lot of them come to us, they apply with us because they want to work, they want to build a career for a purpose, not just working in the usual typical banks or law firms and those sort of things. And this is where like we can also tap into their fresh ideas. We can easily get like new team members to come in with like different perspective. And this is one of the key benefits also, like the talent retention part of things. The other thing also, like it's more on the external facing, right? Like you definitely do get a different sort of following. You get, if you've been running your business traditionally, and then you switch to a more sustainable way of practice, way of business, you attract different audience who are more inclined towards topics such as those, especially when you share your sustainability journey, when you share what you are doing, even though if it's small, simple things that you're doing in your operations or in your product offerings, people will start to notice this, they would hear what you're doing, and that is where like you kind of build a new following. They will start utilizing your products or your services, and that's when also it contributes to your revenue generation.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of, you know, not only who your staff are, but also your customers, you know, being able to attract a different client base and following based off of having sustainability as one of your core values. And I mean, you know, having experienced it myself as well, Jason, you know, taking out all this packaging, if you have an awareness of that, it is quite wasteful. And I can imagine as well, you know, the importance of that for customers and wanting to find gifts that are not so, that don't consume so much resources. So I want to kind of shift the conversation a little bit towards, you know, linking this into digital innovation. So I want to ask your thoughts on, you know, what is the link between digital tools and sustainability, and how can digital tools increase the business sustainability? Jason?
Yeah, I'd like to start off with the digital fabrication tools that we're using. So typically, a lot of traditional handicrafts are handmade, right? So what we're trying to do is try to use low power machines, which now enters the digital tools era. Because of the digital fabrication machines, we're able to produce more products in a faster pace. Thus, we're giving more opportunities to traditional handicrafts makers because they're able to scale up their operations with these digital tools. So that's at the very core of our business. But if we talk about general digital tools for all types of businesses, it's really social media presence. That's a very good leverage. We ourselves, we're a fully online business. What does that mean? We don't have a physical store. We're not having a storefront where we don't have physical signs whatsoever. Everything is operated online, and all our operations are just order based. So meaning if someone orders, that is when we try to operate. So all in all, we're still able to have that footprint without much of the consumption of our traditional business, which what makes us as uh, a digital business very advantageous because we're trying to reduce our expenses all in all.
Juliana, would you like to add to that in terms of the link between digital tools and sustainability?
Yeah, I think when it comes to sustainability, we all probably know there's when you run a sustainable project or business, the important part also is on the reporting, right? And when it comes to reporting, there is the data collection part of things. So there are all these tools that are built specifically to collect data when it comes to impact reporting. This could be things like, even if it's on ground, like measuring the water that you're using to plant your for your planting or for like agriculture and those sort of things, right? What the key point is basically like there are tools that would help you to make data-driven decisions that would help you in analyzing your data. And there are AIs that also can help you look at large volumes of data, help you identify the patterns, also work with you to predict new future trends so that you can utilize this to make more strategic data-driven decisions. On the other side, like for us, optimizing digital tools has also allowed us to work remotely, just like what Jason said, right? We do have a physical space, we have an office, but majority of our team members are actually not based in Kuala Lumpur or don't even go into the office. And using tools like Slack or ClickUp, all these task management, project management platforms actually helps us work or operate in a more optimized manner. It allows for like communication within the teams and everything just runs very smoothly as though you are working together physically. The other part of it also, like optimizing on digital tools, you can grow your internal team's skill sets through online learning. And this is easier where you don't have to like get everybody in one room, one place at the same time. Everyone's got different schedules. So like you can work with like platforms and then you can also implement like self-paced learning so that everyone can grow their skills in their own time. Yeah, so these are just like some of the benefits that we have seen utilizing these kind of tech tools.
Thanks, Juliana. I remember as well, you know, in our preparatory conversations for this webinar, we were talking a lot about, you know, physical space and consumption around, you know, traveling to work or traveling to businesses. And I recall an example that Jason shared as well about even the importance of tools like Google Maps. If you can find a business, you know, reducing your carbon footprint even by being able to get there directly or seeing that that business is close by. So for, you know, many of our participants in the audience who perhaps have not started off with a sustainable business, but are, you know, looking to shift into a more sustainable business, what kind of advice would you give to someone looking to make that shift? Jason?
So for me, it's really just use the internet, look at best practices. This webinar is actually a very good example where you can get a lot of tips. So it's really trying to experiment, but don't try to make big investments, big decisions. Again, this is possible. We can start small, and then we eventually try to scale up our sustainability initiatives. Because when we think about it, actually, this also connects to trying to shift going towards that sustainability shift. It's not just a personal decision, but eventually it becomes a must or a mandatory decision, especially when we see a lot of our governments are trying to push policies on sustainability. So I think a lot of us are facing issues where governments are already banning single-use plastics. So if you're a business that's engaged to using a lot of plastic material, then you would be very worried. How can you do that shift all of a sudden when those kinds of policies will be put into place? So it's really trying to have that foresight, try to prepare yourself, try to experiment what would work, what would be very responsive, especially it's not just a decision that you can do as your business. There would also be factors where your consumers could also react. I know some of businesses that try to shift to like using paper cups instead of plastic cups. Some of them might get feedback. Oh, these paper cups are a bit more fragile. We cannot work with this very properly. So it's really trying to adjust, try to fine tune these kinds of decisions, because in the long run it will definitely pay off. Because when comes a time that it now becomes mandatory, or we might reach to a future that hey, single-use plastics is totally banned everywhere. So we know how to adjust with these kinds of changes. And it keeps our businesses running in that sense.
Juliana, would you like to add to that in terms of how to shift your business to a more sustainable model?
Yeah, actually, I think like a lot of times, these businesses are already creating sustainable impact or like having a sustainable model, but they just probably don't realize it because it's not intentional or it's not measured or it's not written anywhere in their SOPs, right? So you can kind of take a look at your current business practice now. For example, in talent acquisition or in hiring, you guys are probably already employing individuals from various backgrounds, but it may not be because of a strategic decision that was made. You kind of need to look at your process, see if it is enabling you to intentionally hire from marginalized groups. These could be marginalized women, lower socioeconomic status groups, or like differently able individuals. If your business is already doing this, but maybe you're not realizing the impact that you are creating out of this. So why not, or rather like my suggestion is to make it into like a formalized practice, like a policy within your organization also, where you have to maybe set a certain clear target of what you want to achieve. Maybe like a certain percentage of your workforce represents these target groups. And I would recommend to like choose target groups that resonates with your company's vision and values, or one that is close to your heart. And this definitely will strengthen your position within the community and also in promoting social equity. And also, like when you have all these practices in place, you definitely do need to measure your impact. And this is not just to tell to the world what you're doing or just to hoo-ha about it, right? But this is actually important because it'll help you in your strategic decision making. You'd become more accountable in meeting your goals, in your sustainability intentions, and it'll make you more credible in all the claims that you're putting out there, right? So yeah, it helps with your positioning and strengthening your ties with your stakeholders. This could be your employees, your customers, or even your investors and funders. When they see this sort of like a number or quantifiable impacts within your efforts, they're way more likely to be engaging and supporting you throughout these sustainability initiatives. And finally, I guess like I want to echo what Jason said. When you want to get into sustainability, always start small. Don't be afraid of starting small, because at least you know that even if you're taking one small step, it will lead to a snowball effect to like bigger impacts in the long run. And the other part also is do not be afraid to fail when you're making sustainability-based initiatives. It's kind of like a new thing right now, so there's really no like right standards, the good thing to do, and like the ultimate like goals or like standards that you have to follow. So it's basically looking at what is the challenge or the problem around the area that you're operating in, the social and also the environmental problems, and think of small steps how your company can help to contribute towards this. And I think that is the key thing to actually taking your first step into the sustainability journey. Oh, you're muted, Hannah.
Thanks, Juliana. You sort of tipped off my next question, but I just want to share a note to the audience that we're about to shift into the Q&A session. So I'll ask this question and then we'll be responding to all of your live questions. So you spoke a little bit about impact, Juliana, and how can we measure impact?
Okay, so there are like a number of ways that you can measure impact. There are different tools and reporting standards out there that you can utilize. There are templates. But for BGBG, we have done, for all the projects that we run, we always run impact reports. So, but the official one that we have actually released is the SROI, which is Social Returns of Investment. And basically, for those who are not aware of SROI, what it does is it kind of puts on a financial value to the impact that your project, your sustainability project, has created to the environment and also to the community, so the social aspect of things. So what we had done is we've done a SROI report for our project Beyond Bins. This is the one where we work with the communities, providing them with a 3-in-1 recycling machine. Through our effort, we provide them with the machines. We work with another social enterprise to, that social enterprise provides the machine. We will provide the entrepreneurial training so that they can match the technical experience or technical skills of working with a machine and turning that into a sustainable business. We also get like the corporates and also the government agencies involved so that they are the end buyers of the products that's made by these communities. So in a nutshell, that is what the Beyond Bins project is about, and that's the kind of impact that we create. So through that, when we ran our SROI report, it is found that for every dollar that we spend on the Beyond Bins project, it actually brings back a return of $7.32 for the environment and the community. So this is, I mean, it was our first time doing a SROI report. So like for us, like, wow, that sounds like a very huge number. And it actually is based on like the external evaluators who are doing the report for us. So with that, whenever we go out and speak to potential funders or like new funders, new clients, when we tell them about this impact, it is way easier for us to start or have the conversation because when it comes to corporates, they are very much into ROI. And when you do sustainability projects, it's very difficult to give an ROI, but through SROI reporting, it actually gives a financial value to it. So like the conversation is so much easier when you're speaking to potential funders. So that's the kind of like impact that you can create through measuring the sustainability initiatives that you're doing.
Yeah, and I can see the importance both internally and externally, right? You know, to be able to validate your work and show a quantitative return on investment, but also, you know, for your own internal edification to know that this is actually working and aligned with your values.
Yes,
Jason,
it was like super important for us to know, like, because we've been doing the Beyond Bins for years and we've only done the SROI maybe 2 years ago, and we're like, okay, so it does actually work. It's not just us tooting our own horn.
For sure. Jason, did you want to add to this question about measuring impact?
Yeah, I think I want to add, going back to like again a small business perspective, some might apart from looking at what's available online in terms of metrics for reporting, at the very core of it is really the sustainable development goals. So there's a ton of material about the sustainable development goals. You can look at a goal that resonates with your business. And that's already a very good foundation, especially if you're still starting. It's a very good foundation for you to look into. You can look at the targets, you can look at what each SDG is working on and try to align. Oh, I want to reach for that goal as well, because identifying what SDGs you're trying to work on, that's where you can build a community of partners. Oh, there's also a partner working on this SDG. Maybe we can collaborate for certain projects, stuff like that. At the very basic, the SDGs is like the universal language. And then if you want to go into something more technical, then you can do the sustainability reporting. There's already a lot of material that you can use as cases for that. If you want to go into more technical reporting skills or reporting measures.
Thanks, Jason. I love what you said as well about the, you know, the value in community, that, you know, not only how can I improve my sustainable goals, but how can I be sharing that, you know, with my community? So I'd like to shift over into a Q&A session to be able to answer some of your thoughts. But before I do this, I'd like to encourage all of you to take a moment to fill out our post-training survey. There should be a link shared in the chat shortly, and this is the way to access a certificate for joining this webinar, and also to share your feedback with us and how we can improve future webinars. All right, I'm going to pull a first question from Zoom. And I think this question is best answered by Jason. How can we make packaging more sustainable?
So when we talk about packaging, it's really first look at the material you're using. You can check if it's biodegradable, not biodegradable. Also look at what your community is using in terms of handling waste material. Are there any options to recycle it? For the case for us, since so our business is called EcoGift Davao because we're based in a city called Davao City in the Philippines. So what we have right here is there's actually another sustainable business that tries to collect plastic waste and then they try to turn it into furniture. So since our business cannot really avoid any plastic waste, we try to donate it there just to further increase our impact. But again, going back to the packaging material, you first look at the material itself. Is it gonna produce a negative impact? Especially when we talk about biodegradable, not biodegradable, you can look at those kinds of options. The second thing would be the volume. How much do you need? For what purpose? Especially in cases wherein you need to ship your items. That's a very big decision that you need to take. Should you try to add more packaging to protect your items, or should you reduce your packaging just to reduce your impact to the planet? Those kinds of decisions really happen when it comes to your business. So it's really on the material and then on the volume. But again, for me, ultimately, it's really having no packaging at all. So we actually try to do that with our customers. Hey, if you want to save a few pesos on the cost of the items, we can try to give it to you without any packaging. Would that be okay with you? And that ultimately again goes towards the fact that we're not producing any waste in that process. So it's really trying to be conscious on the volume, the material that you're using in terms of packaging. But again, aesthetics would also come into play in some cases. So try to look into that as well. So what we try to do is in cases where packaging is really a must, we try to use a lot of indigenous materials. So we try to use a lot of jute string. We try to use a lot of craft packaging to make our packaging less impactful to the environment, but still aesthetically pleasing, especially in the gift giving process.
I love that what you said about, not only just making a decision just to, make a choice because it seems flashy, but, listening to customer feedback, right? Like, do people even want the packaging? And then, kind of carefully considering in cases where people do want packaging or, because of the nature of the product itself, how can we make a smart decision that aligns both to customer feedback and our own shipping needs? I think this next question I'm going to pass to Juliana. In terms of the key considerations when selecting digital tools for sustainability, and how can I make sure I'm making the right choices?
Well, you will only know that you're making the right choices when you try it, right? You won't know you won't know things until you try. So for us, for BGBG, we have actually changed so many digital tools over the years. Because tools that we needed and that we could afford at point A, we tend to outgrow them as our needs grow, like in point B, for example, right? So it really is about like experimenting what is out there, what is aligned to your own needs, what do you actually want to solve using these tools, and also what can you afford using these tools. So for us, based on our experience, our first delving into digital tools was on project management. I think it was using Trello, and then we jumped to Basecamp because there was like certain features that didn't meet our needs, and we found another tool that could help us achieve that. And also like the other tool that we were utilizing was more on the communication side, because we've always operated on a very geographically diverse group of people. So we always need to be constantly in communications with each other, and WhatsApp just wasn't working. So basically, like if you want to decide what works for you, you kind of need to consider the two things. Like, what do you need these tools to do for you? How can these tools improve the work that you're doing? How can you maybe like make your working hours or your man hours more efficient? How can it reduce delivery or operational time? Or maybe even how does it help to reduce your cost in operations? But this will always come in the long run, right? And also, like when you are implementing these tools, I would always recommend to have a change management system in plan. This is to ensure that there's stickiness in utilizing these tools, because a lot of the older senior people within the organization, they are the ones who are usually more afraid of tech and change. So you kind of have to work with them at their pace as well, so that they're able to adopt tech at the same time the company is growing. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Jason, did you want to add to this in terms of, how can I make the right choices about selecting digital tools for sustainability?
So when you select digital tools for sustainability, it's really trying to look at similar to like shopping, similar to regular shopping. You just look at the feedback, the reviews, because again, a lot of people are very proactive when it comes to using digital tools. Might it be for sustainability or for other purposes. You see a lot of people adding reviews, let's say, for example, in the App Store, in the Play Store. So we try to figure out from there, and then we try to experience it ourselves. So again, small, simple steps that we can try.
Thanks. All right, another question from YouTube. What are the latest industry trends on sustainable digital tools? I'll open this to either of you who would like to respond first.
Well, I could share first. Actually, there's like a bunch of new tools that I sort of just learned last week also, like speaking to other impact organizations. There's one huge NGO that I was speaking to, and I was informed that they're working on a tool that allows for automatic reporting between the implementing partner and the funder. And we've spoken about reporting, right, and how important is it. A lot of us here knows that reporting can be quite tedious, or like if you guys are the funder side of things, you'd also know like it's difficult to get data from your implementing partners. So this tool or this platform that they're developing makes it easier and seamless for the implementing partner to just key in like the data that is needed, like for the impact measures, their metrics, and for funder to be able to pull out this data live as and when they need it for their own reporting or for their own like strategic decision making. So that's one tool that I find that's very interesting coming up. And I've also been hearing that there is a tool, I'm not too sure whether it's in development or not, but it assists in proposal writing. So it's an AI tool that helps you to come up with projects or like project proposals that are aligned towards sustainability. So like if you're looking to get like funding or grants for sustainability-based projects, but you're not too sure like what are the different projects that's ongoing out there, what are the different ways for you to implement activities that will help you create the impact that you're looking for. There is such tool. I'm not too sure what is it called now, but this was something that AVPN has mentioned to me last week. So it is available where it's kind of generative AI. I would assume it's sort of like ChatGPT, and you just key in whatever that you need and you can brainstorm things with them. So yeah, these are the two top new tools for me at least.
Jason, it seems like you're
Yeah.
in a group, but maybe if you want to add.
Yeah. For me, it's more of some of the emerging digital tools that's happening now in the space. One thing that I'm quite also curious about is the tool where so the tool is actually called Digital Twin. So what they want to do with the digital twin is try to mimic the actual materials, the physics of a certain item, and try to put it in the digital space so that they can analyze it much better. So this is actually more of how we can recover waste materials more efficiently. So that's something that's interesting. But again, it's an emerging technology right now. Another would be the use of blockchain, especially in traceability. So that's becoming a very good tool as well. So I've seen a lot of startups and social enterprises trying to use blockchain to promote single origin products such as coffee, cacao, and other artisanal fruits or products. But yeah, those are some of the emerging technologies that I see that might be impacting or disrupting the sustainability space.
Actually, like, can I add on to that also? Like, just occurred to me when Jason was speaking, one of the I guess like gamified tools that also very interesting to get like consumer or community engagement is a reverse vending machine. In Malaysia, there is a company called Clean, and they have this reverse vending machine that's placed in public areas, in malls and all that. And people, consumers like ourselves, can go and drop off plastic bottles or their plastic waste. And the machine is integrated with an AI so that it would be able to identify what type of waste that is. And through that, as a user, you have an app and you can see like how much points you have accumulated, and you can actually use these points to be converted into cash rewards. So these are the kinds of like it's emerging. There's a lot more improvements to be done to this, of course, like improving on the range of like things that they can identify, or like the size or look of the machine. But is this sort of like a innovative idea that kind of creates that gamification part to consumers leading a sustainable lifestyle, and also for businesses to be able to kind of make money out of this? Yeah.
There's almost too many options out there that I think the challenge kind of becomes, figuring out what is the right option for me.
Yeah.
And I think, someone from YouTube has kind of asked the question that we're all sort of thinking, right, in terms of costs. So we know that for small businesses, really the main concern is, am I making a profit? And so sustainability can seem like a luxury. So the question from YouTube is, adopting sustainable measures seems costly. How can we balance cost and also incorporate sustainability? Jason, maybe I can pass to you on this one.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually looking. Well, this is more of a futures thinking kind of approach. But what I see when it comes to the business landscape in the future is all businesses should be sustainable businesses. That's what I envision in the future, because especially it's not just the consumers getting more conscious about the environment. It's really us trying to also make that statement. Again, there are small actions that we can start, but the fact that we're already starting is already a good move in terms of a small business perspective. Because me mentioning about the policies that are slowly being implemented by our governments, we need a bit of time for us to pivot towards that, especially going back to the issue on governments trying to ban single-use plastics. If you're a small business and you're very reliant on single-use plastics, and then tomorrow, yes, we're gonna change the law, then it becomes more costly for us if we don't do the change in small iterations. So it's really a must for us to do if we want to be not just sustainable in the green aspect, but also sustainable for our businesses to survive in the long. I think for small businesses, it's really for us to put towards that perspective, because eventually the climate or the business climate is changing, not just our actual climate, but the business climate as well. So we need to be very responsive on that. And again, as what I've mentioned earlier with regards to investing in solar energy, that's a very big investment. But then again, there are also small actions that we can start that are not really very expensive. Now going back to businesses that's investing thousands of dollars on having their business run on solar, there are actually a lot of other solutions that are not that costly. If you really want to shift towards renewable energy, then you might start off powering your lights with solar. Solar lights actually just cost maybe $100 or less, compared to investing on $2,000 to fully operate your business on solar energy. That's even though it's small, but that's a really good start, because that information and experience you're trying to gain really builds up in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, just to, add to what you were saying earlier, I'm thinking of, in terms of packaging, if 90% of the product itself is the packaging, that's a fairly significant cost. So shifting to using, sometimes even no packaging can actually be a great way to save costs. Juliana, did you want to add to this as well?
Yeah, just a little bit. So in Malaysia, there are opportunities for green financing that supports like SMEs or corporations who are taking initiatives towards sustainability. This could include like loans with lower interest, or there are certain agencies that also provide grants specifically for you to change your operations to become more sustainable. So these are the kinds of options when it comes to like looking for external funding to be able to support your sustainability initiatives.
Thanks, Juliana. We've got a question that maybe I'm just going to check first to see if this is something that you both are familiar with, but it's a question about sustainable marketing. Is that something you both are familiar with?
How do you mean sustainable marketing?
So we've got a question about if you've ventured into sustainable marketing and if you can share examples. This might be a little bit tricky for you both to answer, but I'm going to open it up just in case.
Well, I'm not too sure what the question means, sustainable marketing, but if it means like to talk about our sustainability efforts, is that how we should interpret this?
Let's go for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, there's always a very good output or outcome whenever we talk about the sustainability efforts that we are doing. BGBG has been built on like the kind of initiatives, the sustainability initiatives that we do. And when we talk about it, when we build, when we share the stories, our personal stories, our experiences about it, we get more interaction or more engagement with our crowd, our target audience. And that is where we know it works. So in that sense, the storytelling behind it, why we do it, and also like using it as a way to also educate our audience why they should be shifting into a more sustainable lifestyle or sustainable business, definitely has a very good outcome to it. However, this I need to share, like when we were running the BGBG fashion, when we did the fashion bags out of waste materials, we were marketing it in a way where we were selling the bags for the story behind it, meaning like it was made by marginalized communities. It was made using recycled or upcycled materials. And then when we put that as one of the labels, so like the key selling point for the bags, it did not sell as good as when we then shifted it to be like, oh, this is a fashion bag, like, you look very timeless in this, like really heading into that fashion driven marketing was way better than our ethical driven marketing. So in that sense, I guess it depends on like which industry you're playing in. If it's fashion, probably like it's a very long and slow, painful process to tackle the fast fashion industry. But then you can do it by subtly also still talking about the ethical considerations or the sustainability elements about it. But maybe just not shout out about it, but just make sure that you are actually holding on to your own your own principle of producing these fashionable items in a sustainable and ethical way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the importance of sharing your messaging with your followers can also be really influential here. Jason, did you want to add to this as well?
I think for me it's really more of a word of caution as well, especially if you try to do sustainable marketing. It's really on the intention. It's not just yes, we're trying to promote sustainability, but we're not walking the talk in some cases, because again, the concept of sustainability is still very vague. And sometimes just by tweaking a few items in the story, it can overall change the impression of how media would perceive it, how the consumers perceive it. So it's really try to put your heart as well whenever you plan to do sustainability marketing. Really mean it when you want to share your story on something. Not just because, yes, you're hoping to get more profit on it, but really you want to share the story, you want to share that consciousness on the sustainability advocacy.
All right, I think we've got time for maybe one or two more questions. And I see, Jason, that you had selected that you were going to answer one of the questions live, which is about why are young people more interested in sustainability tools?
Yeah, actually, it's a very nice question, and it also builds up on what Juliana mentioned, that a lot of younger new hires that they have are getting more into that space. It's really because, yes, we're at the forefront of issues like climate change. I think since a lot of us are in the ASEAN region, all of us are experiencing very extreme warm temperatures. As you can see right now, I'm a bit sweaty. So it's really us, the young people, that's getting more impacted of it. And especially that in the long run, like, yes, we're a lot of young people, they're in their teens or early 20s. In a few years' time, we can see more adverse climate effects, and they will be at the forefront of that. So it's really them having that consciousness. Oh, eventually it's gonna be us that's gonna be that's living on this earth. So it's really important for us make a stand out of it and try to take our own initiatives.
Juliana, I saw you smiling. Did you want to add your thoughts to this as well?
No, I think Jason covered everything. Yeah, the young people are, I guess, the more gung-ho or the more like driven ones when it comes to creating a change. They're more vocal about things, and they're I guess more able to make the decision or make the choice to work with people or work with organizations that are aligned to what they are interested in. So if they see, like I said just now, right, if they see an organization or a company that is not heading towards sustainability, that is not thinking about it even, it's easy for them to just say, okay, I am not working with you. I'm going to boycott or cancel you and go with like a company that is more aligned to my values or more aligned to the kind of future that I want to see. So I feel in that sense, like that's where because they're very vocal and because they have this power to choose, I feel like that is where it's good because they can then like drive these other businesses when they notice like all these trends are changing towards like where the young people are going. These businesses will then be able to change their ways as well.
All right. I think I'm going to wrap us up by maybe just asking you both to share some of your final thoughts here. And then I'll share as well some of the themes that I've been hearing. So Jason, maybe I'll pass to you first for, your last thoughts, all the things that you want to make sure that people take away from this webinar.
All right. I think the parting message for me is the sustainability initiative is not a very scary concept. Please don't be afraid to take that jump. Take the small steps because every small step the world appreciates or the planet appreciates, even though you can't hear them. But that intention is really a good start in your sustainability initiative.
Juliana?
Mine is similar along Jason's what he shared. Take the first step, take the small steps, do it slowly. But I guess like beyond that also make sure that you continue taking smaller steps after your first step. Whatever that you're doing is definitely going to be accumulating. You won't see the change now, but you would definitely see it in the years to come. And it may feel like very small changes, but this is where you kind of leverage the network that you have, the partnerships or like the people within your ecosystem so that you guys can work together, collaborate, and then create like a bigger, more longer lasting sustainability project or programs.
Thanks so much. Just to kind of echo what you both have been saying, I mean, I think it feels really clear how important sustainability is, but also this, this challenge of how can I apply this to my business? And what I'm hearing from both of you is that digital tools can really be an effective way to make a first step, both in terms of communicating your message externally, being able to, simple things like putting your business on Google Maps, using AI internally to help solve some of those problems, or even using tools to measure impact. Definitely on the importance of starting small. And, I think, one of my key takeaways is that actually sustainability can be quite profitable. That it can really be a measure to reduce costs in addition to reducing consumption. And I'm hoping that everyone here is able to explore that and find some of the courage that both of you have shared in starting your own businesses to kind of, get started, take those baby steps and learn along the way. I'm going to pass back to my colleague Joash to close this out. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Hannah, Juliana, as well as Jason, for all the interesting insights that were shared today. I'm sure, our participants all enjoyed it because I really enjoyed myself as well. Now, we've come to the end of the webinar. Please share with us your feedback by clicking on the short link that you will find in the chat, both on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Once you complete the survey, you'll be able to see a certificate button on the same page, and that is where you can access and download your certificate of participation. Also, connect with the Go Digital ASEAN community by visiting our website at godigitalasean.org, and as well as staying in touch on Facebook. If you need any of the links that I just said, you may visit the Resources tab. Either on the right side of your screen or at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to see a Resources icon at that respective site. All right. Last but not least, I would also want to invite you to attend our next webinar, which will be held on 5th June. Same time, same place. It will be held on Zoom. Scan the QR code to register your interest. The registration page will be up in a short moment. So don't forget to register on this link by scanning the QR code or by visiting the link in the chat box. Without further ado, thank you all so much for your time today, and I wish you all a very happy and wonderful day ahead. Thank you.